By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as therapeutic advice to treat any mental health condition in either yourself or others, including but not limited to clients that you are treating. On this journey, we discuss many different approaches, modalities, and helping services, none of which we guarantee will be the best or most ideal approach for you. Please research for yourself and consult with your physician, psychiatrist, or other mental health provider for any medical or mental health issues that you may be having. This podcast should not be used in any legal capacity whatsoever, including but not limited to establishing standard of care in a legal sense or as a basis for expert witness testimony. Privacy is of utmost importance to us. All people, places, and scenarios mentioned in the podcast have been changed to protect patient confidentiality. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are our own and do not represent that of our places of work. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we are sharing is accurate, we welcome any comments, suggestions, or correction of errors.
Talked about your own personal experience, seeing Mother A, seeing how it's affected all these patterns, these cycles in your life. But maybe for the people that are listening, how about you kind of explain, like, how would the MDMA assisted research affect someone, like a client who's deep into their own trauma cycles? Like, how would you help them? Like, you're talking about your own one, and like how the set and the setting, but you did it by yourself.
Yeah.
But part of today, right, is talking about like how you would apply that. So like, how would you help, for example, a stereotypical PTSD soldier coming back who's tried everything, avoidance, and still can't get over their PTSD. It's been 20 years. Mm-hmm. They come to see you.
Yeah. I think, and that's what happens to a lot of individuals that come and seek out this therapy is like they've tried everything already. They've tried, going to therapy. They've tried different medications, they've tried all these different things but it's not working, and that's happens to a lot of people. They have that treatment resistant, type of like, there's always treatment resistant depression. There's treatment resistant PTSD also, and so being able to, and so they come here. And so just being able to just to use this type of therapy model to be able to and to be able to process their trauma and allowing them to process it in a safe way, in an effective way, and just being able to see. And I think at that moment, helping them to, because they go through the trip and you're helping them like through it, but like through the integration of therapy, and you can use different therapy models to be able to like use that integration part. So people are using CBT, people are using existential, people are using IFS, internal family systems, somatic experiencing, these different type of therapy models for the integration part, because and I think that's what's going to be the value of it. And so whatever they bring out of the trip and they bring into the therapy room, that's where you can start applying and helping them to see like how these are connections or associations with your trauma, and I think a lot of it too, it's like it come with their own resolve too, and you see that in the therapy too. People come up with their own resolve. It's not even like a therapist is not using a certain therapy model. Like they're actually saying like, yeah, it's not my fault. Yeah, it wasn't my fault that I did that. Yeah, like, I didn't deserve that and it sucked that I went through that, but like there's more to life, than this trauma. And so that's where it's like, when they can bring their own resolve, it's like, that most of the work is done, so it's just being able to sit with them and talk with them about it and like, okay, what's the next steps now? Like, what are we going to do? What's the plan? How can we structure this? Like, and also, and all those type of things. So, I think that's the powerful thing out of this is they come with their own resolve, and it's not even the therapist like facilitating that, that change. It's like, it's the experience that they're having is creating their own resolve for them.
Right on, man. Like, hearing your story was amazing, man. Just to hear like the whole process of what you went through in that moment, and the bravery of the surrender that it takes, you know, to have to go through that. Not a lot of people can do that at the moment, right? Or can, you know, or maybe it's just, you know, not, they want to get to that point, you know. But I see that as a great method, and I really hope to hear more of what your journey goes through, and shit, maybe even apply a little bit of that myself, you know. So we'll see.
Yeah, I know. So like I was saying, our work in the beginning, I was saying I work at the Lotus Collaborative in Santa Cruz, and so it's through one of their. They opened up actually an outpatient center. It's called Luminous Healing, and so the research is going to be done through that outpatient center, you know. And so I was hired on to help out, and so I'm going to be helping out, but we don't have a specific date we're going to start it yet because of just the whole pandemic and stuff kind of slowed things down. But you know, we already have the clinical team set up already, and everything's pretty much set up. We have the space to do it, and it's a pretty cool space where they do it. It's very like we were talking about, just very comfortable space, very safe space, and like you know, where the client's going to sit at is going to be like very comfortable and, you know, and nice. And so we have that all set up already. It's just a matter of like, okay, when can we start? And so we're thinking we're probably going to be starting probably soon. So, you know, we'll probably maybe in spring or summertime that we'll be starting that, you know. And so there's been I guess a few select clients that have been chosen for the study already and stuff like that. So they're going to be coming our way. And we're going to be working with them, and you know, it's going to be awesome work, man. And I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about the mental health field, you know, and the possibilities now that, you know, that yes, you know, I think talk therapy is awesome and it works, you know, and a lot of these different therapy models work, but like this one's going to be the game changer, you know, for a lot, you know, and so. So I think like when it gets legalized and you know that, and so I know right now they're in the last phase of the clinical trials right now for MDMA assisted psychotherapy. So once they pass this phase and everything goes all right and it gets approved, you know, it's going to be a legal drug to use to treat mental illness and all that. So it's coming soon, man.
Like on to the humans.
Yeah.
But I think we need to take a retreat. You know what I'm saying?
I think we should.
The retreat.
I think we need a retreat.
Don't
guys.
sleep on that retreat.
Don't sleep on that retreat.
Oh, we need a retreat now.
We need a retreat, all right.
Remedy retreat.
Nah, but I echo a lot of what Ori mentioned. You know, definitely learned a lot just from you alone in terms of what you do, your experience and your personal experience and what you've gone through. So definitely resonates, you know, with me, and you know, just interesting to see all this evolve and come to fruition, and get it going to see if this actually can help. So
yeah, man, it's gonna be powerful work for sure.
Yeah.
Yo, Maya, though, you sitting over there looking skeptical, though. You just like, but we still can't get over that drug thing, though, right? Like that we got to take a drug.
4 days intervention, though.
4-day intervention.
4-day intervention? No, I think for the most part, I'm down. I think it's the whole like all the additional red tape that goes into, because then, I mean, you have to go into, all right, where are you going to get your supply? Can everybody take it? If not everybody can take it, then...
Well, yeah, and that's going to be the problem, is like certain people have access to this and other people won't, you know, and that's where we see disparity in a lot of our institutions with that, you know, that only certain people get access to certain things, but then other people can't, you know. And I think this is one of the things that, especially the psychedelic field, is like running into, because, you know, when you look at it, it's like a very all white thing, you know, and like white people, and you know, a lot of the therapists are white, a lot of the clients are white, you know, and so. I think more than ever now, I think since, you know, 2019, you know, well, I think it's been going on for a while, but like more recent, like they've been really saying, hey, we need to be more diverse. You know, we need to start making this a thing of like, if we're going to put this out and put this medicine out there to help people, like we want this to get to everyone, and so it's not just going to be for just a certain population or certain race and ethnicity, but we need to get into other people because they have PTSD too. They have issues too. And why not give them this medicine, or we'll give this help and support, so they can cure them of their, or help them of their own issues and problems,
Yeah. How ironic,
Yeah.
The white man studying this stuff from Asia, from Africa, from Mesoamerica.
Yeah. It's and that's the crazy thing. It's like, when we talk about shrooms, we're talking about ayahuasca. Like, it's been around for thousands of years, man, and it's been more indigenous cultures that have, it's just more popularized now because,
because the white man said it was okay.
The white man says it's okay. It's all right, and so
That was a really low tone right there, man.
White man said it was okay. No, because it sucks because these drugs really do have medical benefit. I mean, I really do believe that. And the scheduling of the drug just won't let it get through. And then people got this taboo of like, what? You're going to take shrooms? You're going to take this? You're going to take that? Like, what about even the access today? Like, you did it in a religious ceremony.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, some people buy these on the streets, and it's no longer been, it's been decriminalized in certain places, right? Like Oregon, Oakland, Colorado.
Yeah.
And we are seeing some social problems getting better. Mm-hmm. But what is the access like today, man? I mean,
of like what, these certain types of
black market
getting that treatment. No, I mean like
therapy,
treatment.
Because there's all kinds of like different ways to look at psychedelics, and I mean we haven't even talked today about like the artistic side, the creative side.
Yeah.
Oh, this is therapy house.
Of course, it is therapy house, but like. Where is the access today, for these psychedelic treatment? You're talking about research.
Yeah.
Like, is there any place that has already started?
Like, can I go to Kaiser and do that?
Kaiser? Well, I'll get into that, but
Michael down the street in the Kaiser parking lot.
Yeah.
Shout out to him right now.
I mean, it's just so taboo. Like you can't just go into your doctor like, yo, I think shrooms would really cure me.
No.
From heroin.
Shroom card right now.
Yeah.
Is that acronym? MDMA?
Yeah, MDMA. Well, unfortunately, there's no legal place you can go to or open place where you can go and especially access like shrooms or like ayahuasca or any of that stuff. That you can't. But there are backdoors way of getting that, and I think there's a lot of underground therapists that do that. Honestly, there's all over the Bay Area. There's hella underground therapists that are doing this work, and they've been doing it since it's been criminalized and put on Schedule 1. Once the whole LSD research and the shrooms research went down, and they made it illegal to do that, or illegal to have it or whatever, have in possession. They still continued on with the work, man. A lot of them just went underground, and you just have to know people, or you get connected, and then they'll do the work for you. They will do it, but it's very underground, very secretive, very it's not in the open. But it's just knowing the right people and getting connected to, and they're doing the work, man. They've been doing it, but it's all in the hush, man. And so all over the Bay Area right now. So there's a lot of therapists that are doing it, but right now it's just in a research setting, and so that's and there's ways to get connected to that. So if individuals do have trauma or PTSD or really treatment resistant, there's ways to sign up to try to be part of the study, And so I've led some certain people there to the website and to get signed up and see if they can be part of it. Try at least. So you can do it in that setting, in that way. There's other ways too. I tell other people this of you can go on your regular Psychology Today therapist, or you can, and there's people that put on there that, they do psychedelic integration work. So they won't give you per se the drug, but if you go and have an experience, so if you go into a religious ceremony, like an ayahuasca ceremony, or, if you kind of did shrooms on your own in your room or whatever, and you took a really big dose and you had a really crazy experience and really eye-opening, and now I need to go see a therapist to talk about this stuff. There's therapists out there that do that. And so sometimes I'll tell people maybe you want to go and do it in a very safe setting, like a religious kind of ceremony setting, or and have your experience, and then get connected to a therapist that can do the psychedelic integration. And there's training for that too, so you can go that route also and do that, so but right now it's not. So, but once it becomes starting to legalize, you'll start seeing things pop up like therapists or treatment centers that are doing that,
It also even brings up like kind of the debated topic sometimes, like, like you've told me, where people don't think that the religious component is needed for these types of trips, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like, and then in your own individual story, you even talked about how like you went back like to the Amazon, right? Like you had a spear in your head. Like there are all these psychedelic components to life. I remember in the trip that I had way back in the day, when we took too much, I went back to Egypt. Mm-hmm. That was a cultural experience. I have no idea if like I got like some super great ancestor from way back in the day, but it is. These are things that are happening cross culturally. Mm-hmm. Obviously we talked about the indigenous communities before. We're talking a lot about ayahuasca today, like that. That's often found in the Amazon, in Peru, in Brazil, places like that. And like Maya, you mentioned even earlier that you had heard about some stuff from China. Like then there's been government conspiracies, MK Ultra.
Yeah, get into that. Yeah, that's another rabbit hole right there. But.
Another rabbit hole, but all these psychedelic experiences, man, like I just, as much hope as I have for them as a medical model that can be used and all that, I really think that there's just so much taboo in the history, and that holds everything back. Yeah. It's frustrating.
Oh, it is, and I think that's going to be the one obstacle that's going to they're going to come up against, even though it becomes like legalized to use. Like if you want people to have more access to it, then you're going to have insurance start paying for it, and so like.
And they ain't gonna pay for it.
Yeah, and
you want me to reimburse you for what?
Yeah,
no Medi-Cal. Yeah,
dude. So I know that's going to be a really obstacle and a challenge of like how are we gonna do that, and how we're going to be able to convince insurance to be able to pay for this type of medicine or this type of like therapy, and and hopefully the research is going to speak on its own, you know what I mean, and hopefully. I don't know. Sometimes it's debatable if they're even like evidence based. A lot of these insurance or even see for what it is, but I don't know. But hopefully they can look at the research and see like, hey, this is showing great results. Like this is showing like the efficacy of this is like it's awesome. So like let's give it a chance. That's an ideal world, but I don't know.
True, but then within the medical system and insurance system, you're gonna have to treat a specific thing. So if you think like, oh yeah, insurance is gonna cover me getting enlightenment or self-reflection, bullshit.
Yeah, of course, yeah, all right, yeah, I know. So it's almost you got to put it in a medical term way that they can see that. But
you lying?
Yeah.
Why are you lying? Why are you lying?
I know.
Yeah, but there right now there is a legal psychedelic that you can take and go to a clinic and do it, which is ketamine. So ketamine is ketamine's like they used to use it. Well, I don't know. They kind of still do, but use it as an anesthetic, But it is a psychedelic, and it's being used to treat depression right now, anxiety, and also PTSD. And so you can go, and there's clinics here in the Bay Area that you can go to, and do. You can do ketamine, like you said about Kaiser. Like, you can go to Kaiser. I think the only one really around here is Berkeley. If you go to Berkeley, Kaiser, you can do ketamine treatment, but there's no therapy with it. So you can go and be like, just hook me up with some ketamine, and go in there and just have the trip, and then they're like, all right, have a good day, like after. So it's like. You can do that, but that's not as effective because like you're not having like again the integration part, the therapy part of it, and integrating the insight you got out of that. So there are clinics around here that do that. The ketamine, it's called ketamine assisted psychotherapy. So you can go and do, there's like that. Well, what I've read, it's like there's about like six or seven doses of it, and then you do like the integration part with it too. So you can go and do that. I think insurance covers some of that. They're not going to pay for all of it, but they can. But yeah, that's another way for psychedelic therapy. The ketamine right now is legal. So
Shit,
How
highly
much?
risky,
how much
though.
would it cost?
How much would it cost? It can be pricey. You know what I've seen. I think the whole process, it's like I think around like a little over 4,000, 5,000. But there's different ways that you can do it also where you can do, well, they have lozenges they can give you, and so they'll mail it to you, and you can do it at home. And so you can do it in that way, and then do the therapy part, which is a little bit cheaper that way to go, because you're not in the you're not in the building doing it, and they're having sitters with you and all that. So you can just do it on your own, and then go back and do the therapy, which is a little bit cheaper than going in person and doing it. So yeah, so it can be cheaper that way.
I think it even, I mean, as we're talking about like all these specifics, the legal side, the money side, what official one like Kaiser would even provide, it just goes back for me, maybe even a little stuck on it, or just like that guy, that healer, that person next to you. But then like we're trying to have this almost like this Americanization of cutting off this cultural piece.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this religious piece, this cultural piece. Like we're talking about the set and the setting.
Yeah.
You know, and we have to include all this other stuff that comes with it.
Yeah, and I think I remember, I forgot what it was, but I was watching a talk one time, and they were talking about that of like when like the westernized medical model, like when we start doing this, like what's going to happen with like those like the indigenous parts of the aspects of it, you know, like the cultural part of it, and like will the American medical model be even open to that and integrating that into the therapy kind of model, you know? And I think, I don't know, like it can be done, you know, and it's been done, but like I think those aspects of, you know, honoring that culture and keeping it in there, you know, that's what makes the experience like awesome, because it's like it's a cultural thing, it's a spiritual thing, you know, from a different culture, and you know, and they're telling their story, their narrative, like, and their meaning of the experience through their own culture. And so being able to have that, and that's what makes the experience even greater.
Right, it's tradition, right?
Yeah, it's tradition.
Passed on.
Yeah, it's passed on, and so hopefully the American model and medicalized model can be open to that. But I think it's an important factor to it. You know, I think it should be a part of it. You know, I think you can still have a great experience without that part, but I just feel like it just enhances the experience more, and it can be more healing, and it can be, also therapeutic also. You know, so I think that's why, like, you know, there's a lot of spirituality in it too. You come in with the intention, like, what's the intention? Like, that's a very, you know, I think it could be a spiritual kind of way of looking at it. Like, what's my intention of coming in here? And you have to really reflect and think, and, you know, and whatever you bring, you know, hopefully, you know, I think it'll flourish in it, and being able to, like, whatever the you come with it, the attention. But that also, and then also I know they and I think some like the ketamine assisted psychotherapy place, they do like the smudging too, so they keep the cultural aspects of it also in there, and the spiritual aspects. So like I said, the ketamine assisted psychotherapy are doing it, but you know, that's just whether they're going to integrate that in the process of MDMA or, you know, the psilocybin, if they're going to enter those aspects, I don't know. Hopefully they do.
I mean, I just remember, you know, like even family members, you know, saying like, "Oh, okay, vamos a agarrar una limpia," you know, like there is that, you know, it's that cultural piece. It's that, you know, that is it even connected to the medical model, you know, and I feel like as we embrace it, we also ostracize it. Yeah, you know, if that's a thing.
Oh yeah, and I think more and more, like, especially like when you're thinking about like other cultures, or like meditation, mindfulness type of stuff, like that stuff came from like Eastern kind of religious kind of thing, Tibetan, you know, and so now it's like a very common thing that we use in therapy, or like teaching people.
We just rebranded as mindfulness.
Yeah, we rebranded as mindfulness.
Meditate, motherfuckers.
Yeah, but this has been going on for thousands of years before already happening, and the results and the benefits have been shown and proven for such a long time. You know, now just barely, because it's become popularized again.
It's that prophet that Jay was talking about.
Yeah, and so everyone's a mindfulness yoga guru now, you know, but it's just like...
Sounds like we got to rename Psychedelic
Yeah,
therapy.
we got to rebrand that shit.
Psychedelic needs a rebrand. Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying, Jay?
basically, psychedelic is just too. It sounds cool, but at the same time, it has such a bad history, right?
Yeah, it's a loaded
backlog
term.
of
It's a very loaded
very
term.
loaded
You know, like
Yeah, and those are some of the talks too within that community of like that can be a potential barrier too. But when you think about what psychedelic means, it's just like mind altering. Like it's mind expansing of your consciousness. Like when you look at the term what psychedelic is, that's what it is. But yeah, when we look at that term, like what comes in mind? A bunch of drugged out hippies or like
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, just like crazy stuff like that. But again, it's been kind of what we've been conditioned to, like what propaganda and what has been thrown out there. Like this is what a LSD head looks like. This is what like
tie-dye shirts.
Yeah, just like a fucking bum, this bum that just does drugs all the time and doesn't have anything going on in life. And that's what the picture they've given to us. And that's where the conditioning of society and culture and its messages and its propaganda, and like that's what we think, and that's where a lot of people get fear, and they have so much misinformation about what these psychedelics are, is because it's what they learned in their DARE class, what they saw when it's like, oh, this is your brain on drugs, it's like that type of shit, it's like these scrambled eggs. You're just like, what the fuck, dude? But like, yeah, so, but it's
mine sunny side up.
Yeah.
And
But-
there hasn't really been any real talk about substance use and the healing experience within it. I mean, up until this point, I mean, you bringing in this idea to the group is kind of like, wait,
We can do
possible?
drugs.
And it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, of course, we have a different filter, a different realm because we have introspective skills and whatnot, talking with other people, reflecting on our own lives. So some of these drinking, weed, psychedelics, that's a natural process for us to like look within and like listen to ourselves, but not for everybody else.
Yeah. Well, and it's just how you use it. And this
You're
is this is the thing. It's like anything can be abused, and anything can be like used as an unhealthy coping skill. Like watching Netflix can be something that's unhealthy. Food can be something that you use as an unhealthy coping skill. Like there's so many things, and I think drugs and alcohol, like I think it's all about like what's the purpose and intention you're using these things. And so someone's like you said, to escape. They don't want to feel certain feelings. They don't want to deal with their own traumas. They don't want to deal with their own hurts. And so it's easy to turn to alcohol or to a drug and be like, I'm just going to zone out.
Yeah, I'm going to numb out to it. I'm going to zone out.
But that's the intention they're coming in with. They're like, I just want to use this because I don't want to feel. And then they become dependent on it because it's like it's constant. They need that. So they won't have to feel their traumas. They don't have to feel whatever's coming up. And so, but drugs in itself, I don't think it's bad if you use it in a way that's healthy and moderately. If you're using it as an excess and like doing it all the time, yeah, with anything you do with excess or without moderation, it's going to be bad for you. You can drink too much water and die. You can.
I'm already thinking about Mother A, just like, you again, motherfucker? Like, you back? Come on now. We just had this talk last week.
It's like, why you back?
So you ain't learning.
Yeah. But like, yeah, it's just about, and I think that's where it becomes of like, we look at drugs and it's like inherently it's this bad thing, but it's really not. It's it's just how you use it.
I think in terms of how we use it, like, I've only done it a few times in my life. And I had one, big enough experience where like I was just tripping on the molecular level, the cultural levels in Egypt, like all that stuff. But physically, I was also tripping. I was like shaking, cold. Like it was bad. But I've had other experiences where you're in the right set and you're in the right setting, like the hiking. You're feeling one, you're feeling connected with all of nature, like around you, and it can be a beautiful experience. But these psychedelics, at the same time, like we have to realize that when they're using this setting, it's like your intention is to really deal with it. Your intention is to really go and deal with the trauma.
Yeah.
You're not using it as an escapism. You shouldn't approach psychedelics. That's my personal recommendation of like, yo, man, like, let's just go try it out. Like, let's experiment, man. Like, we just pick some up, Like, that's the wrong way. This is something that you want to do where you're intentional about wanting to change something powerful about yourself. You know, so something that's going to change your ego, something that's going to change your consciousness. You know, you want to be reflective and all that, but it is a powerful drug. You know, as much as like whether it's my ethnic background of, you know, being in Peru or just knowing what it does in the community or the religious aspect, you know, like I saw a shaman once. That was a whole other trip too, but you know, it sucks to be to just constantly hear both sides, you know, of like, it can be this medical model. And then at the other time, like just people who can't let it go. Like some people are so rigid about psychedelics because it's been gotten to that level of being with propaganda and the dare dog and all that stuff, where it's just like, no, we would never try that. You know, a lot of the experience of feeling interconnected on psychedelics is even against that feeling of rigidity. You know, it's about movement, it's about flow, it's about change. You know, so when people talk about like alcohol, that's a depressant. That's going to make you feel like shit, right? You're on H. You're so detuned or detached from your body that, I mean, you just literally sit in a corner for like 8 hours or so and just in nirvana in your mind, but complete physical neglect to this world, right? Psychedelic is not that type of experience. It's not that type of numbing out or that escaping. It's actually, let me see what my trauma is. Why do I keep revisiting this in my head? Why do I keep playing out these intergenerational cycles? And obviously we've talked about, you know, these therapeutic doses. We've also we haven't talked about how psychedelics have even helped out computers. For people microdosing from the 60s, creating computers. We wouldn't have iPhones, Macs, computers, you know, PCs, like none of the technology today without those geometrical shapes. But people just automatically think about that it's a drug.
Those pyramids were geometrical for a reason out here.
Another cultural connection.
Or the aliens did it. Or both.
But people can't get past this rigidity.
Oh yeah,
That's the classic argument with psychedelics.
That's why, like, all Silicon Valley, a lot of these engineers are microdosing all the time on LSD. You know, like you can read articles, you read stuff about that, like how all Silicon Valley engineers are doing that. You know, but it just helps boost creativity. It just helps you to open your mind and just to see it in a different way. You know, and this is why we have a lot of the advanced technology. And this is why Silicon Valley is the hub of all technology, you know, and I'm not saying they all did psychedelics, but a lot of them did. A lot of the, like,
Fairchild from way back in the day was among the first. You know, we look at people like, you know, just for the common people out here, you know, with, you know, Mac and Steve Jobs. You know, like this is a dude that had done psychedelics too. Like all these people, you know, created this whole industry, and that's where we're here today. As a product of that too, as a byproduct of that. IBM didn't ban psychedelics till like 10, 15 years later, like early 80s, late 70s, you know? But it's just been that constant battle back and forth.
Yeah, and that's by hopefully, you know, that this research gets out here, you know, and shows, and we'll be able to convince people that like this can be used in a way, in a safe setting, and in a way to help heal, you know. And so, and I think that's what's going to show. I think it's going to be more. I think our society and culture now is like more open to the fact of psychedelics than it's ever been now, you know. And so, I think it's going to push through, and I'm very optimistic about it. So we'll get there.
Tune in, Therapy House. We out.
Thanks again, everybody, for tuning into Therapy House. Here to remind you to check out our Linktree at Linktree/therapy_house. There you can find all the links for our podcast website, the different platforms that we are broadcasting on, individual links to our personal pages. Like, comment, rate, and review our podcast so that we can grow. And of course, subscribe so that you'll be the first to know when we drop something new. Until then, we'll see you next time.